Okay, testing out this live chat. Never gone live on YouTube, but if any of my subs, if you see me live here and you have any questions, want to talk about anything that has to do with these crazy times and how living abroad is going to improve your life, make your life better, then jump on here with me. I'm trying this out. This is something that I want to get into doing. And as a matter of fact, since I am testing this out right now, why not start the conversation by questions or some things that I've gotten recently in comments. And we're all at different stages in our life. And unfortunately, I've spoken to a few who have been, downsized out of this whole federal government purge. And so I want to speak to that because most of you are not near retirement age, but you've already put in a decade or more in the US government. What do you do now? Do you still stay here and play these asinine games that they're playing? No, I think that, unlike our grandparents and our great grandparents, they did the best they could with the hand that they were dealt, right? We're dealing with the same situation, the same group of people, but we actually have a whole different set of resources and means of how to handle it. And I think that this is a really, really good time for you to look at all the options that you have at your disposal. This idea that maybe now is not the time to do anything is ignore that. Yes, it's the time for us to not be out there protesting and doing notion that stuff, but it is a perfect opportunity for us to situate our life, because most of us have the means and we have choices. And I think looking outside of the US to build your stability is a great idea. So let me start with an example. Let's say you've been working for 10 years, federal government, mid salary, 70,000, 65, between 65 75K. So you have built up something in your 401K. I'm not saying you're at no point of retirement, but you've built up some type of stability, something that you can certainly leverage for your visa application, right? So if you want to return to school, why consider going into debt in a United States institution when you could look abroad and go to school abroad, right? If you want to start a business, why play the US game when you can look outside of the US? Or you could take your business and you could downsize your cost of living outside of the US, because you can in most cases, moving outside of the US, you will decrease your monthly budget. Okay, so I think that now is the time, the perfect time, as a matter of fact, that if you've been thinking about moving abroad, now is when you double down. I would say, and I think I even mentioned this in an earlier video that I did, that right after the election, where ChatGPT was like, if you're going to apply for a visa, you do it this year. I think it's a perfect time for us to do it. So by all means, and I think it might not be a bad idea to actually run some numbers on that too. Taking that mid salary and seeing how far it can go in a few other countries. Countries that I am thinking about is Panama, Spain. Let's see. I wish I could find a remote job and prepare to move abroad in the near future. Yeah. When you say find a remote job, do you mean one that is going to also give you the ability to work outside of the US? Because all remote jobs won't give you that ability. That's for darn sure, unfortunately. I have been ready to leave the US since 2020. Um, what's the biggest obstacle? What's the biggest obstacle? And if you don't mind my asking, without divulging, like give me your age range, like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like what range? Okay, I'm gonna wait for you to respond. I want to try to delve into helping you make that possible this year for sure. Okay. Mm, okay. Okay. And that's coming up on when you do your visa application and they do the background check. That's a hindrance. That's a hindrance. Can I ask, I know a little bit about that. What state? Mm, Kentucky. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Kentucky. I was hoping you didn't say California. Um, yeah, that's like one of those mechanisms. Yeah, that's one of those mechanisms that keep people in place. The U.S. is really good about they're really good about doing stuff like that. I don't know anything about Kentucky. What I would do is in my community, I'll just throw out a broad question, see if anybody has any knowledge background, see if there's a way that it could come out of the status of the do not issue status, because that's a hell of a thing. That's wow, wow, unbelievable, unbelievable. Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Student loans and child support and taxes are like balls and chains. It's like balls and chains. I say it's the only daggone country you can buy a house and still lose it. Still lose it to taxes. Most countries you buy a home and it can never be taken from you. Oh, whoa. How old is child? Elementary, middle school, or high school? You can be general. Elementary, middle school, or high school. Because then what I'm thinking is that you get the one thing, you get the child support issue taken care of and get off of the no passport list. You would be moving with a child. I would rather trade citizenship for someone wanting to come here. She's in the ninth. Oh, good, high school. Good. High school is easier. I went abroad. My son did he did his senior year um, abroad. It's much easier when they are in high school. Fortunately, I didn't have to worry. I did not worry about putting him in school because um, most countries will give you a public school option for sure that you don't have to pay for. But then you have the international schools, which are an arm and a leg. Um, yeah, yeah. What I did was I homeschooled the rest of the way. And when I say homeschool, I don't mean I don't mean the way they coerced people into homeschooling during COVID, which was ridiculous. I don't mean sitting a kid in front of a computer all day and all that kind of nonsense. No, we kind of did homeschooling in the traditional sense, and it wasn't the first time I was homeschooling, so I know a lot about it. Oh, okay, then we speak in the same language. Yeah, yeah. You have a lot of flexibility once that other thing is gone. Then you have tons of flexibility. Yeah, I don't know anything unfortunately about Kentucky, and I can't offer anything with that advice though. Um, but let's go back to your first comment on the remote work. Um, you're looking for like a digital nomad visa. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. We're talking the same language on the homeschooling. Um, are you looking at like digital nomad visas? Is that why you were saying you want the remote job? Because with the digital nomad visas, you have to have the employment tied to it. Even though some countries on the digital nomad visa, it doesn't have to come from a quote unquote remote job. Even if you're freelancing and you may have two or three clients, you could be doing it that way. As long as they're seeing either a contract or either some sort of consistency, they're seeing the deposits coming into the bank account, you're showing, you know, at least minimally 3 months of bank statements, you know. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So it's so funny. Somebody in my community, she's doing remote telehealth now. She moved into doing remote telehealth for the purpose of building up the length of time to show her remote work for the digital nomad visa. Is that something you would be qualified to do that you could consider? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the direction. Another person I'm working with, that's the direction she's going. She's behavioral health, behavioral, I think it is. I think that's her specialty. But yeah, I would look at how to leverage that all those skill sets that you have in healthcare and see how you could take it into telehealth, and boom, you now have created your own remote job. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know if you have the healthcare credentials, you can also register with a couple of the telehealth agencies, and they will send you business. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. And I've kind of not been as diligent. Okay. I don't know what just happened. It looks like it's moving in again. I don't know what just happened. But yeah, yeah. I had to, I don't know, I feel like I may have taken a little hiatus here. I had to kind of, it's a lot been going on, and so it's been a lot. But now is the time. Now is the time. Just like I said, if you're in the healthcare, whatever you can leverage right now, whatever you can leverage, leverage it now, and look at that checklist that you gotta knock out and make it fast. And even I'll tell you something else. Yeah, it's lagging. I'll tell you something else too. Okay. A lot of people have in mind where they want to go, what country they want to go to, right? And if it's not that country, they're just gonna stay put. All right. And I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying that this is not a big move, but and maybe I look at it a little different because I've moved from New York to California. I've lived in Vegas. I've lived in I've lived around the United States. I've lived on every coast. Okay. Um, but there is something to be said. There is something to be said for moving, okay? And so you may think that, well, the place that I want to be, hands down, is this particular country. It could be, and I'm not favoring one country over another. It could be Costa Rica, it could be Ghana, it could be Spain, wherever it is, right? But you may have a hindrance right now. You may have a hindrance right now. Maybe it could be meeting the qualification for the visa. Whatever it is, it could be a hindrance right now. It doesn't mean that you should put off a move. Okay, there is something to be said for moving. Period. And even if it means, oh, you know what, I'm going to spend a year or two in this country first. Okay. For example, if you're in any of the EU countries, most of them will reciprocate once you live in one of the other EU countries for a year. If you want to transfer over to the other one, it makes it easier oftentimes. Um, and then sometimes you may learn so much about a place that you wasn't thinking was as much of a contender as it could be, you know. Um, so I would keep my options open. It's a big world. There's no sense in moving outside of the United States and then looking at the world like it's small. The US is small. The world is not, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, it's exactly like you, even if you're saying, oh, Argentina, that is my destination. Well, it may be something that's like putting that on pause. Doesn't mean you shouldn't go live in Chile for a year or two. You know? Yeah. hmm Anyway, here's what I want to do going forward, okay? Because this, I didn't even know if this was going to work. This was just me hitting the live button, okay? Um, I want to start incorporating lives into the conversation, and especially so that I can start, hearing really more directly from you and answering questions more directly and making it more collaborative. So, I'm gonna end this evening, and whoever joined, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will be back. I will not disappear on you. I promise. Okay. Alrighty. Ciao. I don't even know how to end the thing. Okay. Oh, it does green screen.